right, sixth graders. It's language time. It's Friday morning. I'm getting excited about being done for this week. We are ready for page 262, lesson 167. Today I'm actually splitting up this lesson. We should be having 2 pages today, but you also have a quiz, and I'm thinking that we're going to get done early anyway, so I am actually splitting this lesson up since you have a quiz. So we're just doing 1 page today, and that's page 262. And we're actually starting to study for our final test. And remember, I told you that the final test is pretty long. It's review of everything you learned this year. So we're going to have to go back into our brains and remember what we studied way back at the beginning of the year. So I hope you guys can pull some stuff out. The first section that we're learning about, or that we're talking about, is sentences. Remember, we learned 3 different kinds of sentences. We learned about the run-on sentence, where they hook 2 sentences together without a comma and a conjunction, or separating the 2 sentences with a semicolon. Those are called run-on sentences. We also learned about the sentence fragment, where maybe they would just give you a verb and no subject, or maybe they just give you a subject with no predicate, no verb, no direct object, nothing. They just give you the first part of the sentence or the last part of the sentence, but you're missing a part. That's a fragment. And then we also learned about, what was the other one we learned about? Maybe it's just run-on sentences. I think it was run-on sentences, sentence fragments, and then we had just some sentences that were correct. So what they want you to do on numbers 1 to 5, they want you to correct each fragment and each run-on. They say on notebook paper, if you guys can fit it underneath the sentence in your book neatly, I'm good with y'all just writing in your book. But if you have a problem fitting it in where I can't read it, please put it on notebook paper. And maybe there's not just one correct answer. My book says answers may vary. So if you fix the fragment different than what I would fix it, please do. I don't want you to do exactly or to say exactly what I do. I'm going to give you an idea, then you guys write what you want to write. I have sentence 1 up here on the board. Herman Melville wrote Moby Dick. A major character in the novel is Captain Ahab. Now that sentence sounds really full to me. What do you guys think? Where would you fix this? How about we say Herman Melville wrote Moby Dick. This is one way you could do it. Put a period, capitalize the A, and say a major character in the novel is Captain Ahab. I think you could also make this a semicolon and leave it this way. You can do that, I believe, and put a semicolon there. Number 2 sentence says, when Jonah ran away from God. All right, so this is only part of a sentence. When Jonah ran away from God, what happened? Maybe put a comma and finish the sentence with something. Sentence 3 says, searching diligently for his lost sheep. All right, maybe this sentence needs a subject. Who was searching diligently for his lost sheep? All right, so that's what you guys need to do. You're going to fix these sentences either with maybe adding a comma and putting a conjunction in there, maybe separating your run-ons with a period and capitalizing the next letter, whatever you think. Number 4 says, treat everyone with respect and civility. Everything is gained and nothing is lost by courtesy. And number 5 says, if you face difficult situations without giving up, you need to fix that. That's a fragment. Sentence 4 was a run-on. Fix those two sentences also. Moving down to capitalization punctuation. Mark each incorrect small letter and add all necessary punctuation. All right, this section is loaded. And you're going to have to remember a lot of rules. I wrote them up here, things that you're going to need to do. You're going to need to add commas. Do you remember where we add commas? We add commas after direct quotations. Like if I say, Ashley, will you go and get me a drink? After Ashley, that's like a direct address. Or I could say, Miss Kim said, the cat is blue. Yeah, really, the cat is blue. Okay, so around what I said, the cat is blue, you need, I'm going to quotation marks. I'm getting mixed up. After it says Miss Kim said, comma, and then you go on. Commas separate adjectives in a, like if you were describing a noun, the hard purple chair. After hard, you need a comma, separating adjectives. Maybe you have words in a series. My pencils, paper, and music sheet is in my desk. Pencils, comma, paper, comma. Separating words in a series. What else do we need commas for? After cities, like Abbeville, comma, South Carolina. We separate dates. March 20th, comma. If the year is in the middle of a sentence, you put it after the year. If it's at the end of a sentence, you don't. But if your date is in the middle of a sentence, you put a comma after the year. I don't see anything else. But we're also going to have quotation marks. Quotation marks go around the direct quotation of what somebody says. Remember that? We also use quotation marks around like chapters or articles, songs. I think in this part it's mainly direct quotations. We also have capital letters. There is gobs of places for capital letters. Make sure at the beginning of a sentence is always capitalized. Make sure the first word of a direct quotation is always capitalized. Cities, states, if you have a, like Dr. Smith, Doctor needs to be capitalized. Smith needs to be capitalized. If we say Aunt Jane, Aunt needs to be capitalized. Days, dates like months. A certain test like a biology test or biology 101 or certain, if it's a certain thing, not just I took my biology today. No, if I took my biology test today, that's a certain thing. Remember like France, England, English, German, those words need to be capitalized. If you have the name of a book, the important words in the name of a book, or the names of plays, or ships, or songs, important words in a song, they all need to be capitalized. People's names, if you're talking about the president, that always needs to be capitalized. A certain mount, whatever, a certain mount, then like the names of mountains, the names of rivers, all of those like specific places need to be capitalized. You will also have periods. Remember, periods go at the end of sentences. They go after initials. They, let's see, what else? Initials in the end of a sentence. Abbreviations. I think that's the main things. You have underlines. Remember, underlining is name of ships, name of books, newspapers, those kinds of things are underlines. You have a hyphen in here. Remember, a hyphen goes in between, like if you say 21 or the 51st, or it's separating a number in words, if that makes sense. Separating that. You have semicolons. Remember, semicolons can go in between run-on sentences. If you have two sentences together and there's no conjunction there or anything, you probably need a semicolon. You have one question mark in this section. What I'm going to do, I'm going to bring it up close to here. I have what you need since we're not in school and it's so much of a pain to score this if you have some wrong. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a close-up picture. I actually wrote down how many things you need. I've got 15 commas, 3 sets of quotation marks. And I'm going to give you a close-up so you can see it close up, and then you can make sure you have that when you do this section. I thought that might be a little bit easier for you. So that is all for today, and I'm going to be sending a quiz home